ArguAtlas is a platform that eliminates the interferences that otherwise make arguing prohibitively frustrating and unproductive. On ArguAtlas, arguing is recast as informative, productive, and even an enjoyable exercise. Here are the basic ground rules that make this possible. To provide a neutral battlefield, dialogue on ArguAtlas plays itself out on a form of wiki. Just imagine a very basic node and link system. The nodes represent a single component argument within a larger system. That larger system is a complete narrative, rationale, or perspective. The process you go through on ArguAtlas to lay out your personal positions and refine your points simultaneously helps shape a more expansive collective dialogue. Argument by argument, you evaluate each point and bring it to its sharpest form before deciding to either accept or reject it. In the midst of deciding which arguments to accept and reject, you are also organizing them by how they relate to one another. There are three types of relationships between arguments to measure. First is the prevalence of an argument to precede another. This relationship shows the arguments that support the argument at hand, premises or conditions that may need to be accepted first. We call these the because arguments. Second are the arguments that follow, the corollaries or conditions. These are the so arguments. And finally, there are the counterarguments. What arguments might make the current one invalid? These are the rebuttals. To keep this representation fair and eliminate any opportunities for gamesmanship, ArguAtlas limits which side can shape which side of the argument. The only people who should have any say for how a line of reasoning is presented should be the people that accept it. And developing counterarguments needs no help from the people that only plan to reject them anyway. So the ground rules are actually simple. Accept the argument, and you have a vote, along with your peers, for how it is most effectively represented. First, you get a vote for how to best state the argument, what tone and nuance is appropriate. Alternative phrasings are tracked within the argument to choose or refine. This step is key to avoiding repetitiveness. You also get to vote for what we call the explication. This is a link to any article, video, podcast, or any other type of content you believe tells a more complete story than what can be captured in a single statement. Those are refinements you make with basic single votes. You also get a distributed and weighted vote for how strongly the arguments relate. And the weighting is essential. Links between arguments only persist so long as someone is willing to give it a portion of the limited weight we each have to give. So an argument's proportional importance is made clear, communicating a great deal of nuance through how the weight gets distributed. If you reject the argument, you have a weighted vote for the rebuttals. This keeps the straw man in check and highlights the most truly challenging arguments. As you string together arguments based on the strength of the connection we are able to now, for the first time, measure, the lines of reasoning, along with the tendency for consciousness to flow through them, are revealed. All the difficulty caused by arguing with imperfect humans disappears on ArguAtlas. Your adversary instead is a dispassionate amalgamation of your opposition's most devastating arguments, uninterested in anything but the true crux of the matter, and immune to petty tactics. But you are also at full strength. Armed with the best arguments, the collective wisdom your side is capable of producing. The stage is now set for a major clash. But this isn't a clash for sport. It is to break open and see what is inside our information bubbles. In this way, you can think of ArguAtlas sort of like a particle accelerator, but for information bubbles. In order to see what is inside and put it on full display for everyone to examine, we charge them up with the pervasive energy the internet has to argue with itself, otherwise wasted on comment sections. We use this collective effort to hone our perspective to its sharpest state, take aim, and then smash it together. Out of the violence, a picture begins to emerge. An amazing new data set that can't come a moment too soon.